phone and switch it around to me. Oh, so sorry. I really need to get a better stand so that doesn't happen. Okay. So that was my mistake. All right. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Here we go. This up. Week number 8. Okay. Let's start first up. The top in fiction books directory is back up and running. I have completed that or managed to, I don't know how, but I managed to complete that this weekend. So the page is up and running and you can go look at that. It's basically as complete as directory as it can be of all of the fiction that's been first shared on Substack publications and then converted into a print book. I actually have one more to add today, and I'll make an announcement in notes once that book has been added today. Um, right now, it's in order from pre-orders to the latest, going backwards for publications, going all the way back to I believe 2022. I'm thinking I might want to change how that is from publication date to possibly genre. I don't know yet. Right now, there's over 30 books listed on there, and I know there's going to be a lot more added. So before it gets too out of control that I can't manage it, I want to make sure I put it in a directory type feel that's easy to find, basically. So I'm thinking either category or like poetry or literary fiction or genre or something. So I'll see in the coming weeks which one I land on, but for right now it's just up there by publication date, so that anything that's like a pre-order or most recently published will always be at the top. Okay, so the next thing I want to quickly discuss, I'm sorry, I'm having like serious allergies. um the next thing I want to discuss is the top and fiction teams application. So if you've recently, in the last like couple of days, went to the applications page, you'll notice that it's slightly different because I've added a few more leads that I'm looking for. Because I figured, you know what, I'm looking for more than just genre curators. I'm looking for designers. I'm looking for community organizers. And people like that. So I added that to the application page. So if you don't necessarily want to be reading any specific genre, you can always apply if you're good with design, let's say Canva, Photoshop, um, Adobe Illustrator, any of those things, and you want an opportunity to help create the different images, social media images and stuff like that that I create right now. I'm doing them myself in order to promote top and fiction. You can totally do that. Or if you're someone who wants to just, be out in the field, um, helping the community, helping to find what the community needs, helping me to come up with ideas for future writing events, future TIFF disruptions, TIFF presents, all of those sorts of things. Um, you can now apply as well. Um, and anyone who has filled out that application so far, you will hear from me by Wednesday of this week. So that is a guarantee that I'm putting out there. By Wednesday this week, you will hear from me. I will probably um, either send you an email or a DM with further information. Okay, so one thing I wanted to talk about is the Friday emails that go out every Friday. So I've noticed lately that people have been recommending stories that are outside of the 7 day cap. And I just want to make it clear that there is a reason for the 7 day cap on when the story has been published. And if your story is outside of that, meaning it's from 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, several months ago, last year, I will be removing those comments. And so the reason that I keep it within the week is because Top and Fiction is a weekly publication. It is a weekly email that goes out. And so I don't want to take away from the people who wrote a story and shared it within the last 7 days. It takes away from that story when a story that was written last month or last year is also included in those comments because I know that people are looking at the top and fiction recommendations more than any other email that I send out. So that email, I hold it and I cherish it very much, especially the comments that are in there. So I am going to be more stringent about that. If your comment is in there and if it's a story that is beyond the the week that is set out, and I will make it bigger if it's not big enough for you and you don't know what those 7 days are. It is the first line of the guidelines. So if you read nothing else of the guidelines, because they're all essentially every week, it's the same information. Look at the first line because the first line of the guidelines tell you that the story must be written from this date to this date. So, for instance, the email that goes out this Friday, it should be a story that was written and shared via email between the dates of February 22nd, which was 2 days ago on Saturday, till February 28th, which will be this Friday. If it was written on the 21st, if it was written on in January, if it was written earlier in February, do not put it in the comment section. I will remove it. A caveat to that as well is if you have two or three stories that you're putting in one comment, and even one of those falls outside of that week, your entire comment, meaning every single story that you're recommending, will be removed. So I recommend that if you're going to self promote yourself and or recommend other stories, please put them in separate comments. If you are commenting 3, 4, 5 times, that's fine. I don't care. I'm just making sure that if you should leave a comment where you're putting 5 stories and one of those falls outside of the 7 days, all 5 of the stories you recommended will be removed because I'm removing the one story that you have that falls outside of the dates. So I'm going to be much harsher on this. I've been very loose and lax about it in these last several weeks that I've seen it. But consider this to be your warning because this Friday, any story that is not written between February 22nd and February 28th that is put in the comments section on Friday will be removed. Okay. The last thing I want to talk about is, and I think I'm allowed to at least say that there will be a special guest for guests on the next monthly recap. Now, I didn't plan it this way. The last monthly recap that we did for the January monthly recap had Mark of the Brand came on to show off the Top and Fiction logo, and then it just so happens that I'm going to get someone, um, two people actually, to come on with me for the next one. And these two guests are really special. I'm really excited about it. You don't want to miss it. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Um, but in order to accommodate these two people coming on with me on Wednesday, March 5th, which is the next monthly recap number 2 this year, will happen at 1 p.m. Eastern. We had to shift the timing so that they can both be present for this one. And the format will be the same as last one, where I will come on, I will read the featured stories, and then I will invite them on, and we will spend the rest of the time just uh, talking, and I'll be asking them questions, etc. Um, so you don't want to miss it. Make sure mark your calendars. I'll remind you guys again next week in the Monday email that goes out, um, to make sure that you're there next week Wednesday, not this Wednesday, next week Wednesday. Okay, that is that. Um, just a reminder that I will be a little bit late with getting this email out uh, after I read off the names, just because I have a lot going on with my son being sick. So I'm being pulled in all sorts of directions. But let's start with the 20 featured stories, um, for Top and Fiction Volume 2, issue number 8. These are stories that were all written between February 14th to February 15th to February 21st, 2025. Oh, one more thing I want to say, because I noticed when I was doing these, if for whatever reason your genre is not listed correctly and you're featured, please do let me know in the comment section. Send me a DM, send me a message on Substack Notes, however you want to send me a message. Let me know, because I want to make sure that I'm as accurate as possible with what your genre should be listed at, especially if you're featured here and you didn't leave a comment in the Friday recommendations post, meaning I basically had to guess based on your story, based on your writing record, what the genre basically could be for your story. Yeah. And I know that I'm not always correct. So here we go. Poetry, Dust, by Nuno Pinto of Nuno's Substack. Micro/flash fiction. Murder by Coincidence, by Bill Ferguson of Observations in Time. The Soulmates, by Chris J. Franklin of Tales of the Zeitgeist. Chuckaboo, by Nancy Waddell of Nancy's Substack. Short stories. The Mistress of Bedloe Hall, by Bridget Riley of Naptime Novelist. The Alone Place, by Shaina Reed of Kindling. Eat Your Heart Out, by Ariexa of Ariexa's Substack. Je m'appelle Toi, by James Worth of Just Wonderin. And So Could Anyone, by Hamish Kavanagh of The Sudden Walk. The Church Bells Ring in the Early Morning, by Adriaan Odendaal of Now Maybe Later. Whiskey Demon, by Aurelian T. Ashmore of Tales of Grit and Sin. 483, by J.J. Walker of After Dusk. Short Serial. Ink in Water, The Weight of Being Whole, Part 1, by Sandolore Sykes. some FLUX. Serial. Hex Exile, Episode 1 by Erica Drayton of the Serial Hour podcast. The Quake. Sardi's and the Battle for the Library, Chapter 1 by S.L. Linton of the Forgotten Library. We Are Stars by Jarret of DarkLight. Overreach by Simon K. Jones of Write More with Simon K. Jones. Why Teach, Chapter 18 by Peter Shull of Lower Midlist. Honesty, Nothing More, Nothing Less by Z.K. Hardy of Inkdrift. And A New Mother, Chapter 15 by A.M. Ward of Heaven and Earth, The Hetra Chronicles. That's it for the 20 featured stories this week. This email will go out sometime later today. I will see you all in the comment section on Friday and on next Monday, March